Adam here from the Walser Automotive Group, and what I want to do today is take you on a test drive. So next to me here, I have a 2025 Hyundai Kona Electric. Now this is the limited trim level, so we'll look at some of the specifics of this one, some of the other trim levels, interior, exterior, and then go for a spin around, see what it's like out on the road. Okay, so now we're behind the wheel of the 25 Kona Electric, and again, this is the limited trim level, so this one's gonna have a ton of great equipment in here. Let's start with our cell phones, as we always usually have those with us. This is gonna have wireless charging down here, and then on our 12.3-inch display, that's gonna have wireless Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto. So we'll dig into that a little bit more when we get on the go, but let's put it in drive, go for a spin around. Now on the 25 Hyundai Kona, there's a couple different kind of battery options. This particular limited is gonna have the 64 kilowatt hour battery, and that's gonna give you a total range of about 261 miles when fully charged. Now Hyundai claims with DC fast charging, this vehicle will go from about 10 to maybe 80% in about 43 minutes. Now there is a little bit smaller battery option for kind of the base model, but I think if you're gonna go with the limited, get all the great equipment in here, 261 miles, I mean, especially if you can charge at work or if you can charge at home, that's gonna give you a pretty good range to use. Now, this particular limited on the exterior looks amazing. This blue color with kind of the silver and the black accents out there, it does look really nice, especially when the sunlight hits it. It is a pretty awesome color, and I love these 17-inch wheels. I think Hyundai did such a good job with the design of this vehicle that it's not like, if you didn't know this was an EV or full electric vehicle, it doesn't scream that like some other cars where they're very obnoxious or kind of crazy. This is just a regular subcompact SUV, and it does look really good. Now let's talk about some of the exterior stuff. So up front, you'll notice that's where the charge port is. So that's pretty cool. You don't have to try and back into some crazy charging spot. You can simply just pull right into your spot, plug it in, and you're up and charging. Now, this also gets the full LED light bar that runs up front as well as out back. There's a really cool kind of all the way across light bar. I think it gives the vehicle kind of a menacing and cool look, especially at night or when it gets a little bit darker. It's a very sporty looking vehicle to me. I think that, you know, some of the EVs, like I said, are a little crazy or maybe a little loud with the styling, but I think Hyundai did a good job of keeping this pretty moderate, yet you can tell it's a futuristic and kind of newer vehicle. Now let's talk about the ride and drive. So this particular one with the larger battery bumps up the horsepower pretty significantly to about 201. Now it's not the fastest thing on the road, but I mean, I'm cruising at about 45 miles an hour, and if I put my foot down, you can see the little power bar spikes all the way up, and it gets up and moves just fine. I assume most people that are driving this vehicle aren't going to be doing any drag racing or ripping around, but if you want, there is a drive mode select. You can go into a sport mode and have a little bit more fun that way, but I think it's plenty fast for 99% of the time, whether you're merging on the highway or like here we're taking a turn, just kind of kicking out into traffic. It's got more than enough get up and go for 95% of the time or 99% of the time, like I said, to be fun yet quite efficient. Now let's talk about the driver's seat. So this is the H-Tex material in here. So that's what covers the full interior. It's not quite a leather, it's more like a mock leather, but it wears really nicely. It's super easy to clean. If you got the kiddos in the back, they spill some ice cream or spill a pop back there, you can simply just wipe it off, and it is very convenient and comfortable. Now this is going to be a heated as well as ventilated driver's seat, and the passenger seat up front here is going to be heated as well. Plus you get a full leather wrapped heated steering wheel. And it's absolutely one of my favorite features, and this particular one does come with a remote start, so in the wintertime you can fire it up. It's going to be nice and toasty in here, yet you're not even really firing anything up. You're simply just running the heater, getting it warm, so when you hop in, you're warm, the battery is warm, and you can take off and get moving. Now, a few other things. So like I said, the 12.3-inch display for the wireless Apple CarPlay, that's also going to host your navigation. So this has built-in nav if you want to use it. If you're not using that CarPlay, you can pair your phone in here, you can see the weather, you can see all sorts of stuff. But I figure for the most part, people are probably going to be using the CarPlay or Android Auto, which gives you text messaging, Google Maps, Spotify, all that good stuff built right in there, and you're not messing with your phone when you're on the go. Then on the other side, our left side of the steering wheel controls our little digital gauge cluster. That's going to show you your range, some of your safety features are going to be in there. There's also a really cool thing that gives you a range guide. So it kind of bases how you're driving out to see what your total range might be. Now, one thing I can do to help kind of increase that range is there's little paddles behind the steering wheel. So I'm currently at level 0. So if I click this up, I'll go level 1, 2, 3, and then all the way to level 4, and that's gonna be iPedal, or essentially like one pedal driving. So if I get up here to maybe, let's say 30 miles per hour, and I lift, you'll notice immediately the car is gonna slow down. And what that's doing is building back some of that energy to help you get the best possible range. Now, if you don't like that, or maybe it's too aggressive, you can maybe go down to level 3 or level 2, and it would be a little bit less intrusive. Or if you don't want it at all, simply just set it back to 0, and then it's just like driving a normal car. If you lift, it will just continue to coast. Now let's talk about some of the safety features. Blind spot monitoring, you have an adaptive cruise control system in here, there's emergency braking, all that stuff. If you go into the regular menu here, you're able to see that, and if you don't want something, you can turn some of those driver assistance features off. One thing that's pretty cool, it will show me the speed limit sign up here. If I'm coming up to a stop sign or maybe a school zone, if it's darker at night, you can't see, that's a pretty cool little feature there. But one of the other things that's pretty unique in this vehicle, say you live in the city and you have a super tight parking spot and you can't quite get around out of the car, someone parks way too close to you at the grocery store, you can actually use the remote smart park system. So what that's gonna do is allow you to move the vehicle forward and back without you even being in the vehicle. So that is one of those kind of goofy features. Until you really need it and it's there, then it definitely is pretty cool to have. And one other new feature that I wish all new vehicles had that I love so much is when you click on the blinker, you actually get a small little camera. So you can hear when I click it on left or right, it pops up right here in the display. So if I can't maybe quite see what's going around me, or the blind spot monitoring is going but I can't see, you can click that. It actually gives you a view left or right, and I absolutely love that feature. So one other big thing in here, this one does get the sunroof, so that's got a little electric shade up above, and this also gets the Bose sound system. So I was blown away at just how awesome the sound system really is in this car. So if you're kind of an audiophile, you like listening to your music or podcasts, I think that's definitely a worthy upgrade to jump up to the Limited. So a couple other things, this one does have the dual zone climate control. So if you driver passenger are both in the vehicle, this seat is actually power with lumbar as well. So the driver and the passenger are both going to be really comfortable, and it's just a lot of cabin space. I was surprised for kind of a subcompact electric vehicle. In the back, I still had headroom, I had legroom, and with no transmission tunnel because of the electric motor, you can actually fit 5 adults comfortably in the back. But if you're not hauling people around with you, those seats do fold flat, and it's a power liftgate in here. So it does make it really easy, whether you're loading up the groceries or putting all your stuff to go to the cabin for the weekend. That is pretty cool as well. So the backup camera in here is pretty awesome. There's a little button you can press if you're kind of moving slow or if you're stopped. So you actually have parking sensors all the way around with this backup camera. You can click the button, it's gonna give you a 360 view. You can look up front, you can set it so the whole screen is the camera, or you can click another button and it kind of gives you a rear 3/4 of the car. It is so cool. If you hit something, you would have to be trying very hard because that is pretty convenient, especially with the parking sensors. So overall, I think the Kona Electric is great. Now, we didn't talk about the price. So obviously the Limited, like I said, at the top of the food chain is gonna come in with an MSRP of about $42,900. Now, if we're looking at the average new car price in the US right now at over $48,000, I mean, all the equipment you're getting in here, the 260-mile range, wireless Apple CarPlay, heated, ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, I mean, you're getting a ton of equipment for the money. And I think if you're needing something just to buzz back and forth, so if you've got a pretty simple commute, I mean, this would definitely get you through your week. It's quiet in here, it's comfortable, lots of headroom, legroom for all 4 or 5 passengers in here. I love the equipment. The infotainment screen works very well. You can't say that about all new manufacturers, but this one, if I go into the CarPlay here, it's quick, it's very responsive, it pairs up right away easily and turns on every time I jump in the car. So I think if you're in the market for maybe a subcompact, compact SUV, or even a crossover SUV, I think you gotta get out, take the Hyundai Kona Electric for a spin around. I think you might be surprised with what you find and really like all the great equipment, style, and design that you get with the Hyundai, and see if this might just be the perfect vehicle for you. Now, that was just a quick look and drive at the 25 Hyundai Kona Electric. Now, if you have any other questions or you'd like to schedule a test drive, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by anytime. We'd be more than happy to help. Thanks again for watching.